Alright, how's it going, guys? This is James from Butler Farms, and I'm up here at my solar clothes dryer, better known as a clothesline. And I was walking through a couple of weeks ago. It's been so busy this summer that I hadn't been paying a lot of attention, and I wanted to show you something that I found up here that's kind of disturbing. I'm up here around my crabapple trees, and when I was out here in the backyard hanging out some clothes a couple of weeks back, I noticed just at a glance that some of my crabapple trees were not looking too good. So I know the light is not exactly the best right now. It is so bright out here, but I planned to have done this earlier this morning, but on a homestead there's a lot of other things I need to do in the cool of the morning. I want you to look at these leaves right here. These leaves are completely eaten up, and I didn't notice it until it was too late. And as I said, this is one of my crabapple trees. Some of the branches, as you can see, have been almost completely stripped of their leaves, but a lot of them are filled with this looks like a kind of a silk lace kind of structure, where they've kind of skeletonized between all the veins of those leaves. Now what this is Japanese beetles. When I did see it and I came up here to check it out, they were everywhere. They were completely covering the bush, and I tried to get as many of them as I can, but those of you that have dealt with Japanese beetles before know that they do fly. So you know, it was not very productive. I was able to get a couple of handfuls. Now the problem is that not only did it get this crabapple tree, it also got my other one, and I'm gonna move down here as we talk about some solutions to this in a little bit better light, which made me go check all my pear trees and my regular apple trees, and my regular apple trees were eaten up just as bad. I didn't find any actual beetles on them, but the leaves on them look just the same, and kind of discouraging. Now none of these trees are production age yet. That crabapple tree I was just showing you right there has a handful on it this year, so next year ought to be its first real productive year. They've been in the ground probably about 4 years now, maybe a little bit less, but anyway, you know, it's very discouraging to try to do what we try to do and grow some of our, or even all of our own food, and then have to deal with these insects. And if you've been following me for any length of time, you know that I don't bring traditional chemicals up here, whether it's herbicides, insecticides, fungicides, whatever it is. I don't bring you know, traditional chemicals up here. I try to do it as organically as possible. So I just wanted to come to you and show you that, and to give you some solutions. Now, being the plant geek that I am, I keep a notebook of research and kind of hacks and things that I can use, that I go online and look to some trusted resources and things like that. And I'm one of those kind of people that I like a notebook that I can flip through. I got a 3-ring binder that has about every possible disease and pest and everything in it that you can find, and I didn't have one for this, so I had to go do some research. And I'm going to use some notes here, simply because there's several different things that you can do. Now these Japanese beetles, they did leave me enough leaves on there that I think they're going to pull through this year. There's still enough leaves on there to be able to, you know, make their own food and go through the photosynthetic cycle. But discouraging nonetheless, because I try very, very hard to keep my stuff disease free and pest free as much as possible without putting anything on them. Now the first thing that I want to talk about is something that I can't even pronounce. I did look it up, I did price it some here in town, and the initials are BTG. Again, I'm highly educated, but I'm not even going to try that. And this is a naturally occurring soil bacteria. It is a preventative. So this is something that you would put on before you have the problem. So once I found this, it would have done me no good anyway. It's very safe. It does not harm worms and bees and other pollinators. We've got dogs and pets and all different kinds of things around here. It doesn't hurt to be around them or people. but you know, if you start seeing them, you can still apply this stuff, but it's mainly a preventative more than a cure. So it's not really practical for what I'm doing here. And here's the main thing. It is extremely expensive. I don't have the figures right here in front of me. I priced it at several farm stores. I priced it at our farmers co-op, and guys, it's with the small little package that it comes in, and for the price that it comes, guys, I can't do it. It's out of my price range. I had to look for some different alternatives. The next thing obviously is to hand pick them, and I did that. I came out here with some soapy water, and I would sneak up on them several times a day. They're kind of chill when you don't mess with them, but as soon as you touch that tree, as soon as you shake it at all, they are going to fly everywhere. They're going to swarm you, which is kind of disturbing to some people. But I was able to get a handful at a time and drop them into that soapy water. I would think that if you had, you know, most people don't want to even attempt to put them somewhere else so that they can cause more harm. But I guess if you had chickens, you could disable them enough for the chickens to have a good time with them. But right now we're not set up for that, and it just gave me a lot of pleasure to put them in that soapy water, to be honest with you. But that's not very practical either, because the number that were on that tree, all my trees, my crabapple, my regular apple, the numbers that were on that tree, guys, there's no possible way, and especially the way they took off when I tried to put my hands on them. So not very practical. Now the next thing I want to show you, and I'm going to turn you around here, is neem oil. Now all of you that are into organic gardening know about neem oil, and it does several different things. As you can see there, it's an insecticide, it's a fungicide, it's a miticide. It does many different things, and this is just the brand that we had at our local Lowe's. I don't have a particular brand, but I was looking for that to try to put something a little bit more natural on it. And so this is an extract. Obviously it's very concentrated. I would dilute this and apply it to the trees. Now it will help a little bit for the adults that are on your trees if you're dealing with Japanese beetles, but it's mainly for the adults to ingest, and then what they do is they go and pass it on to their eggs. And it breaks that cycle. It kills them in the larval stage before they can reach adulthood. So the initial infestation that you have, it's probably not going to help a great deal. It will help some, but it's not going to wipe them out. It's mainly used to break the cycle. If there's already an infestation, it's probably not going to be very beneficial, but it is generally safe for bees and other beneficial insects. So that's one possible solution. Another possible solution is what I've got here. This is by the same company, but it is a spray that you can put on them. I'm not very high on this. As you can see, supposedly you can use it up to the day of harvest. It's for all those different kinds of plants. It works. It says it works pretty fast. I did not apply it because by the time I got my hands on it, the infestation was over, guys. They had already done the damage and they were gone. So this is something I'm going to have for next year, but I don't know if you can see that. The active ingredient right there is pyrethrin. Now, I'm not a big fan of pyrethrin, and you know, I'm not really doing this video to get in the debate over pyrethrin, but you know, there are some drawbacks according to some studies of pyrethrin, and if any of them are true, you know, you read one website and it says no, it's perfectly safe, and then you read another website and they say, well, you got to watch it, it's possibly carcinogenic. I don't know. This will be a last resort. You know, I'll start with something like this, but you know, that is a little bit more safe. Again, you can see that it is certified for organic gardening, but you know, you have to do your own homework and figure out whether you want to use pyrethrin or not. Again, I'm not very big on those. Now, a couple of things that you can do is you can encourage natural predators. Parasitic wasp are one of them. And when I say the word wasp, especially to some of my people that love to eat my vegetables, but they're not really into this lifestyle, they say, oh no, we don't want wasps. Guys, parasitic wasps are different than the red wasp that we deal with down here in the south. These parasitic wasps are something that you want to have on your property. In some cases, these parasitic wasps, for instance, I know I've actually pulled some tomato hornworms off of my tomato plants over the years, where the parasitic wasp had laid their eggs on the tomato hornworm, and it has these little spikes that kind of stick up from its back. Guys, that is cannibalism. I mean, they are absolutely eating that tomato hornworm. Now, the tomato hornworm's still doing damage to my tomato plants while it's still alive, but it's basically eating it from the inside out. And those where it's laid those eggs, that's where they're getting their nutrition from. So you can see how it can be a powerful ally against these other pests. So anything that you can do to encourage some of those other beneficial insects around, that would be helpful. Now, they do make traps for Japanese beetles. Guys, don't waste your money on those. Think about what you have to, how a trap works. A trap has to attract whatever it is that you're trying to trap. That's fine when you're trying to trap large animals or something like that, because you can get one in the trap and be done. But you're talking about putting a bait out there that's going to draw even more of these Japanese beetles in. You've already got a problem. These traps are notorious for only catching very few of them, and now you've put that scent, that you've put that pheromone out into in the wind, and now every Japanese beetle around is going to, you know, think that's somewhere they need to be. Don't waste your money on traps. I haven't had any luck with them. I haven't found anybody that's had any luck with them. It just is what it is. It sounds good. It looks good in the package. It's a set it and forget it. You don't have to worry about it. You don't have to. It's basically taking money from a lazy man is what it is. Because you're not going to, you will trap some. I have trapped some. And you look in there and go, wow, that's a lot of them, until you walk out there and see what I saw on my trees. And when you see that, you realize that, and no, I didn't have traps out when I found that, but you realize that when they infest a tree like they did all of mine, guys, that handful that you've got in that trap, it's not even putting a dent in them, and all you've done is ring the dinner bell to get more to come to your place. Don't do it. You know, the only thing I can say is there are regular insecticides. When I was at Lowe's looking for something a little bit safer, more organic, they have a ton of stuff out there that will treat for Japanese beetles. That's probably very effective, but at the same time, it is what it is. It is a chemical that you are spraying on something that you're going to use for food. You know, again, the debate is out whether you can even wash this stuff off. You know, you do it way ahead of time before harvest, and still you wash it and wash it again and all this kind of stuff, and guys, it's still there. You can still find traces of it on your food. Now, you know, for some people it's worth it to get a harvest out of it. That's how the commercial food system works. They dump all sorts of chemicals on there. That's why every tomato and pepper and everything else in the store is beautiful, and every one of them looks exactly the same. It's because they're pumped and sprayed full of chemicals that so that they do. But that's not what we're doing here, and I hope that that's not what you're doing where you are. But anyway, I just wanted to show you that, guys. Next year I will be on it a lot quicker, since they are not productive trees yet. They were so young that with everything else I've had going on with my summer garden and putting things up after we harvest and things like that, this started happening down here in the deep south about the early to mid-June is when I caught it. So next year I will be on the prowl early. I will treat them early, and even before I start seeing damage, I'm going to go ahead and treat them. And that way, you know, maybe since they're about to become in their productive stage, that won't be a problem anymore. But stay on top of it. I didn't. I've told you before on this channel that I'm going to show you the good, I'm going to show you the bad, I'm going to show you the fails. This was a fail because I didn't do my due diligence. I normally am very cognizant of walking around and looking late in the afternoons. That's one thing I do, is walk around and check all my plants, my fruit trees and my bushes to see what's going on with them, and those were out of sight, out of mind. Got busy. They're not producing yet because of their age, so I ignored them. Not on purpose, but I did, and that's completely on me. So you know, if you're having problems with that, there are solutions out there, but you got to stay on it. You got to catch them early, and you've got to be diligent, and from here on out I will be. So I'm gonna leave it there. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share, guys. We're continuing to grow. Love to see it. Love each and every one of you. God bless you, and we'll see you next time. This is James from Butler Farms.